What a thrill it is for me to be with you today. I graduated from here almost 30 years ago, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy I could make it on such short notice. I know the originally scheduled commencement speaker was unexpectedly detained a couple of days ago. I understand he was arraigned this morning. Is that correct? Yes. And we all hope his victims will get the justice they deserve. Now then, I got the invite to do this so late that I had to scramble to come up with a speech to give you all, but thanks to a little help from a friend, I did not come unprepared. So let's do this. Thank you, Principal Insert Name, faculty, staff, families, friends, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2026. Webster's dictionary defines commencement not as an end, but as a beginning. And that is what today is, a beginning. Today is the first day of the rest of your lives. We are gathered here today because you have all reached a milestone, but this milestone is only a door which opens to reveal an even greater journey ahead of you. This chapter is ending, but you are about to turn the page and begin writing the next one. It may seem like a daunting prospect, but as the ancient philosopher Sun Tzu, author of The Art of the Deal, once said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It is incredibly surreal to be standing here. I grew up not far from this stage, but far enough away that it was in a separate building. And I walked these same halls and sat in those same chairs. Actually, now that I look at them, I'm pretty sure the chairs have been replaced since the last time I was here. Whatever. Not important. When I sat where you are sitting back in 1998, the world felt simultaneously massive and terrifyingly small. I remember looking around at my classmates and wondering how many of us were going to leave this school, this town, and go on to change the world. As the answer is 0, by the way. And counting. And counting. Anyway, where was I? As the President of the United States at the time, Bill Clinton, who was also a noted saxophonist and member of the Eureka, California-based experimental rock band Mr. Bungle, once said, bow wow wow yippee-yo yippee-yay, bow wow yippee-yo yippee-yay. What did he mean by that? Perhaps it evinces a lack of imagination on my part, but I have always taken it literally, as a reminder to cherish each moment, because youth is fleeting, and nothing lasts forever. When I was young, as you are young, I often walked the trails and played in the fields of the parks and recreation areas of other types in this surrounding region of the place we call home. And as I did, I often thought of what I would do when I entered the real world. How would I earn my living? What would I do to make money? By which means would I trade my labor for compensation in order to pay necessary expenses? The answer, as it turned out, was that I would become a content creator. Today, and for many years heretofore, I make my living as a YouTuber. I produce videos and post them to YouTube, which is a website where people post videos they produce. YouTube is the largest streaming video platform on the internet and is the best available source of information about feminism, politics, trans people, life in the 18th century, cooking, aliens, and movie trailers, and history and current events. Also, if you're not familiar with Twitch, YouTube is the best place for live streams where you watch other people play video games. What does this have to do with you? You may be asking. Simple. If I could become a YouTuber, so can you. Signing up for YouTube is simple and takes only a few minutes. And it's even simpler if you already have a Google account, which you use for email or other Google services. Once you've created your own YouTube channel, you can begin filling it with long or short form video content about anything your imagination can imagine, as long as it falls within YouTube's permissive but ruthlessly enforced community guidelines. And once you've surpassed the necessary benchmarks, you can begin monetizing your content by placing ads before, during, and after your videos. I think you will find the revenue split between YouTube and yourself to be more than generous. And before you know it, actually, I think I'm going to skip a little of this. Okay, full disclosure, I had Gemini, Google's AI, write this for me, which, some of you probably did with your homework, and that's why you're here. Anyway, I think it's just trying to recruit you all to become YouTubers, which, it worked out great for me, but you might want to do something else with your lives, like go to trade school to become a pipe fitter or become famous on Instagram. So let me just... Okay, this section goes on for a while. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. As the world's leading authority on Star Trek, not true. Well, maybe, depending on what you're asking about. Anyway, as the world's leading authority on Star Trek, I can tell you that Ensign Boimler was right when he said, nope, I would never quote from Lower Decks. We'll skip the Star Trek bit as well. Okay, here we go. When you leave this auditorium today and venture out to begin your lives, whether you are moving on to college or immediately joining the workforce to become economically productive citizens, as is the duty of all loyal humans and other kinds of service animals, you will undoubtedly face challenges. Challenges is parts of life, and you will not ever be able to escape them. As George Washington said to Abraham Lincoln, you can't defeat the French, you can only slow them down with cigarettes and venereal diseases. What did the father of a cherry tree mean when he said this to the first ever world heavyweight wrestling champion? Historians and scholars of history have long debated the point. I myself have always believed it to be a wise statement on the essential indescribability of the ineffable. Not to be confused with the insubscribability of the uneffable, which is what I thought of when I saw your mom's YouTube channel. I ad-libbed that one. Moving on. You have faced unprecedented challenges during your time. You have faced unprecedented challenges already during your time here. You have also met those challenges and learned a thing or two along the way. You learned that hard work pays off. You learned the value of friendship. You learned that using an ad blocker is a form of theft that robs not only from the Google Corporation, but also from the hardworking content creators who, skipping. As you leave these hallowed halls, you will face new obstacles. You will find new mountains to climb, new rivers to cross, and new deserts to cross. You may think you are not prepared. You may not believe you can do it. But I believe in you. The other day I was talking to my oldest friend, a stuffed dog named Stuffy. That's true. That's not an AI hallucination. I was talking to my oldest friend, a stuffed dog named Stuffy, and he shared with me an original thought of his. He said, life is like a box of chocolates. When I finish it, I'm dead. I really should have paid for the pro level for this. Your life is what you make it. It's like Captain Picard says in one of my favorite episodes of the television series Star Trek The Next Generation, which originally aired in first-run syndication from fall 1987 to spring 1994. My future hasn't been written yet. It tried to personalize it, but I don't like that. I try to make a point of not referencing Star Trek all over the place because I make YouTube videos about Star Trek, but I don't want to be like the Star Trek guy or the guy who only ever talks about Star Trek. I'm not trying to shoehorn Star Trek into every conversation. I'm trying to shoehorn wrestling into every conversation. Is there any wrestling stuff in here? No, there is not. Okay. Did Captain Picard even say that? I guess he kind of did. To Berlinghoff Rasmussen, the time traveler, allegedly from the future in A Matter of Time. Your past is my future, and as far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been written yet. But the way it's phrased here, it sounds more like what Doc Brown says to Jennifer and Marty at the end of Back to the Future 3. Your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has, so make it a good one. I'm getting off track. Where am I? When I was a child, I looked to the stars. My father saw me looking up one night and asked me, what was I looking at? I said, the stars. I asked my father, how do I land among the stars? And he said, shoot for the moon. Because we'd gone hunting by that point and he knew what a lousy shot I was. I remember when my father attended my graduation, I'll never forget the look of pride he had in his remaining eye. Just trying to punch it up. Okay. As a human person with blood and skin and other things humans have, which are completely normal and which I also have, I know of what it is like to dream. And I say to you, the class of 2026, the youth of today, and the people my age of tomorrow, be afraid to be afraid to not dream. That sort of works, I guess. Be afraid to not dream. Because in dreams, we discover possibility. And now it is your task to bring those possibilities into reality, which is easier than ever for your generation, thanks to the new suite of free and premium AI tools rolled out this month by Google, including, you know what? We're almost to the end. I think I can handle the wrap up myself. Well done. Work hard. Be honest. Be kind to others and to yourself. Stay true to who you are. Always give your best. Never get discouraged. Never be petty. Always remember, others may hate you, but those who hate you don't win unless you hate them. And then you destroy yourself. Abraham Lincoln said that to George Washington the night he won the world heavyweight title. Congratulations, class of 26. I love you. Don't ever do this. Write your own shit.